Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the preview for the game against Newcastle, back at Old Trafford. We're back today. It feels like it's probably the roughest part of the season that you could possibly get to at the moment. We host an in-form, well-balanced, very energetic team. That sounds like the opposite to us at the moment, doesn't it, Shreyas?
Yeah, I mean, considering we're going to be hosting Newcastle, a team that knows, their way around the goal, a team that is been on a very good streak, I would say, in the past few weeks have been playing very good football and been able to, put away teams very convincingly. And not just teams in the, lower half of the table, but also teams who have actually been very decent through the course of this tournament. So, yeah, I think it's going to be even harder than the Wolves game. Considering the kind of quality that Newcastle have to offer, it's going to be very tough.
Yeah. At this point, Sam, do we go with just Chivi's narrative, where it's just basically we just put all our eggs in the Europa League? Because what happens if we get relegated and win the Europa League? Does that still count? Or
Didn't it happen to Wigan? Didn't he win the FA Cup and get relegated?
and they got relegated?
Yeah. So were they allowed in Europe that year?
I don't
I
know.
don't think that the Europe clause was
it not valid?
there.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of pain this season if there hasn't been already.
I was about to say, yeah, already has been.
I think it's not going to get any better anytime soon. It's going to get worse, if anything. I think the players that we have are not good enough for the system he's trying to implement, and until he gets those players, this is how it's going to be. You might see a couple of wins here and there, but I think there's going to be a lot of performances like the Wolves one, like the Bournemouth one. So yeah, it's going to be painful no matter what competition we're in. Yeah, Europa League's probably the one you look at and go, maybe we could win this if we could string a couple of wins together. But yeah, the league form is seriously worrying at this point. 14th in the table, and I think Everton are 5 points behind us, and they've got a game in hand. So it's that's worrying.
Yeah, to make my Christmas even more miserable, because I was ill during the most part of it. United's performances just kind of sent me over the top, to be honest with you. I couldn't fathom what I was watching against Wolves, Shreyas, honestly. Try and break that down for me. What went wrong, or what, for you, what was the most disappointing thing about that fixture?
Everything, pretty much. But I mean, the roughest part was that I was up at 3 a.m. and watching the game.
Yeah.
And then what I saw after Bruno getting sent off, just I would say, the lack of belief in the team after after that 55th minute mark, it just didn't look like there was any fight left in them. And I just think that the overall lack of fight, and considering that how important that Wolves game was for us, because right now we are in desperate need for 3 points. And I wouldn't say that Wolves were the team that are unbeatable, or even in the course of the game, or if I have to look into the first half, I would go on and say that Wolves were miles and miles better than this. It wasn't the case. Our passing was very sloppy. Our movement in the final third was very, very slow, and it just looked like the overall team was just disconnected against Wolves.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I don't know where to start with it, because you can go to the corner that happened in the game that's happened consistently. Because it happened at the Spurs game as well. You can talk about physicality, you can talk about energy, you can talk about a million things. But obviously, one of the biggest talking points of that game, Sam, was Bruno Fernandes picking up that red card, which I'm sure frustrated you guys as well as myself. But he ain't going to be available for this game. I don't think Ugarte is available for this game. So when you talk about matching Newcastle's energy, that's a massive disadvantage to us, isn't it?
Yeah, Ugarte kind of is the only player in the Wolves game that had any sort of performance. Without him, God knows where we would have been, and we're going to experience that against Newcastle. But I saw a report Mainu was limping in the mix zone. So that might be another midfielder who's out. So you look at the midfield and you're like, who's going to play in there? Like what, Collier and Casemiro, who've never played together ever. A guy who we're clearly trying to push out the door, and a young kid who's just come back from injury, who's not really experienced Premier League football.
Yeah,
that's a worrying pivot, isn't it? That's a seriously worrying pivot. Other than that, what you do, like you stick Lissandro in there? Do you stick, like, do you know what I mean? Who do you sort of put in? Mazraoui, because he plays everywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that midfield pivot is really worrying. And when you've got the likes of like Anthony Gordon, Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, that kind of stuff, they're going to overrun that midfield quite easily. And I think Isaac can have might get another hat trick if he's on form with that midfield.
I just think Newcastle, they're just known, aren't they, for being very physical, runners off the ball. It is quite literally our kryptonite. And it's not as if like we can kind of lean against the fact that the past couple of years we've had a decent record against them. You know, obviously we won in the important moments like the Carabao Cup final, for example. But quite a lot of the fixtures of late, from what I can remember at least, it's not been plain sailing. I remember there was one specific one when they played their like C team, was it? And they still
Carabao
played us off the
Cup last
park.
year.
Carabao Cup.
Yeah, wasn't great at all. And then the one at actually at Newcastle as well in the Premier League was awful.
Lost 2-0.
Yeah, it was awful as well. One of the worst games I've watched that season. So, with that being said, any positives we can pull about United, lads, going into this?
Not at all. Actually, like this is the first time I would say there is genuinely no positive going into a certain game. Like genuinely, there is no one I look at this team and then go,
Yeah,
maybe he can do it, or maybe that can help us, get us 3 get us even hold to a draw. But I just don't see it in this team right now. And I think it's like Sam mentioned as well, it might just get worse and worse till the time that, Amorim is able to get some players in, or at least we start see some sort of coordination in this team on a consistent basis. It's going to take some time. And considering the fact that, we are going to be up against teams like Newcastle, teams like Liverpool, teams like Arsenal, till that time actually comes, it's going to be a lot more painful.
You said it couldn't get any worse, Sam.
No, it's going to get worse. It's definitely going to get worse.
Yeah.
And people who think January is going to be a positive thing, I've got news for you. There's no money, so there's no players coming in January. Like, it's not happening. So the team we have right now is the team that's going to end the season. Like, unless all of a sudden, like, they find some money down the back of the couch or something. But it seems doubtful when they're cutting a 40,000 payment to a fucking charity to save cost cutting. So yeah, and I don't see us selling the likes of Rashford and Casemiro in January because who the fuck's buying them? Do you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, this is the team that's going to finish the season most likely. So unless we see a drastic improvement in certain individuals' performances or suddenly the system clicks for certain players, I think, yeah, it's going to be a struggle for the rest of the season. And you just said, oh, it can't get any worse. We've got Newcastle, and then we've got Liverpool, and then we've got Arsenal.
Exactly.
Two of the teams who are fighting for the title. Newcastle have had a resurgence, and we've just been battered off Wolves, who one of the worst teams in the league. So, yeah, do your own maths right there.
Well, we can't pull any positives as a collective, but I'll try with a couple of stats. Man United have lost just one of their last 39 home league games against Newcastle, going down 1-0 in December 2013 under David Moyes. Some people might still say that nothing's changed since then. Newcastle have won 2 of their last 3 Premier League games against United, as many as they've had in their previous 16 games against them. And Man United lost their game lost their last game of 2023 2-1 against Nottingham Forest. So a bit of a mixture of stats there. In regards to Newcastle, they've had a bounce in form, which is typical when we're in a rut and we're playing. It's either a manager bounce or a team's had a bounce in form or something going against us. The front three, which I've watched them closely for the past few weeks, Isaac, we all know, doing extremely well. Yeah. Even Jacob Murphy, Anthony Gordon in the last game looked really, really good. They're starting to find a bit of balance now with Tonali and Guimaraes in the midfield. They've kept 3 clean sheets in the last 5 games and they've scored 16 in 5. 16 goals in 5. Now, they're back in kind of in contention now, Shreyas, like top 4, top 5 conversation, depending on the coefficient rankings. This is a tough test, isn't it? Really tough test.
It is. And like you said as well, they've got a lot of quality in their attack and their midfield. Like Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes is probably one of the best midfielders right now in the Prem with the way he plays and dictates that midfield. You've got Joe Linton who knows how to, bounce around the box and actually, get on the score sheet. Then you've got the likes of Anthony Gordon, who I would say, if we've learned anything of the Wolves game and the way Cunha was deployed in that game, Gordon is going to do the same thing that Cunha did in that game. And then you got a striker like, Isak, who I would say, again, one of the better strikers in the Prem. Like would walk into any team at this moment. So if we go into this Newcastle game with the same energy, it's going to be worse than Wolves, because these guys know how to create and actually finish off their chances. Isak is one of the best, has got one of the best conversion rates in the Premier League. So it can easily go, be a 4-0 or 5-0 to Newcastle if United pull up the same way they did against Wolves. If they do the same thing that they did against Bournemouth, it's going to get worse.
They're a weird team, Newcastle, aren't they, Sam? They're kind of, is that an example of how the narrative can flip? Because I remember a good few weeks ago, they was 13th in the table, they was below us, and everyone's talking about Eddie Howe being sacked.
Yeah, they went to Brentford, didn't they? Got hammered. I think somebody who came up to, is it somebody came up to Newcastle.
I think West Ham came up to Newcastle and beat them.
Yeah, West Ham came up there and beat them. So yeah, there was a couple of things where you're like, what's going on here? Like, this is some weird results going on. But then, like you said, they go on a run and now they're pushing up the table. It's how tight the league is this season, isn't it? Like, you look at from 4th down to about 14th. It's like 2-3 points in it. So a couple of wins rockets you up the table. We've seen in Nottingham Forest, they've gone on a winning run. Now they're in the top 3, top 4. Like, mental. Crazy. You've got Brentford, who are in the top 10. You've got Bournemouth, who are 6. You have Brighton, who are 5th.
Fulham.
Yeah, like, they're all pushing City, who were on one of the worst runs in history. And they're put, like, so the middle teams, like the Newcastles, like the Brightons, like those, they've got better this year, which makes it harder for the teams who are in traditional top 4, the Spurs, the Uniteds, Cities, all that sort of stuff. That's made it tougher. So you've seen Spurs fall off, you've seen us fall off. Chelsea have got back to some sort of form. Arsenal have been up and down. Liverpool have stormed away with it. City have had a fall off. But then you've had all these middle teams absolutely storming it. Like, Brighton looked really, they had a 0-0 draw against Brentford, but looked really impressive while doing it. So that's the league at the minute. Like, teams like Bournemouth players off the park. Teams like Wolves, who are in a relegation scrap, players off the park. So it's just like, where do you land as United? Like, where do you end up? We could end up anywhere from like 16th to like 8th. We could be anywhere in that thing this season. So yeah, it's really hard to guess this season.
You've got a lot of qualities, Newcastle. But what worries you the most about them, Shreyas? What going into this? What you like? One thing you think that's definitely going to happen, or I can definitely see this going on in the game.
It's very difficult to track their runners. It is genuinely very difficult to track their runners, and one thing they're very good at is one of Gordon or one of Joe Linton. They always drop at the back post. So if you leave them off at the back post, they're going to get on the score sheet, and we've seen it happen countless times this season. Yeah, and if you don't mark them, and especially we've been conceding off set pieces every single game. I can see it happening in this one. Genuinely, I can see it happening in this one.
It's weird, that, isn't it? Like, because it's the Son one and the Cunha one. Both of them. Yeah. What were your thoughts? Because obviously I didn't do the breakdown for the Wolves game, but what were both of you as a collective on that corner thing? Because some people were saying, well, Onana was covered by 2 players, that shouldn't really be allowed to happen. But then it was like there was a similar conversation about the Bayern one, where it was like, should they be in front of him or should they still get to that?
There's 2 factors, isn't there? There should be United players looking at that and going, why is there 3 Wolves players around him? Let's go in and break that up and protect the goalie and sort of break that up, because that's what you do. If you see goalkeepers getting harassed, you just see a defender come in and sort of try and make a bit of space so the goalie can get to the ball. But at the same time, Onana's got to be a bit stronger than that, hasn't he? Because he kind of just gives up on it. The ball comes over and he kind of just gives up. I think he's got to be a little bit stronger, shove some players out of the way, get like to the ball, and like clear some people out if you have to. But at the same time, his defenders need to be backing him and putting some space in between him. So I think it's a combination of 2 things. He's not totally at fault, but he has also got to do better than he has.
Shreyas, you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think once that corner kick went in, there wasn't really much doubt that it's going to go in, because Onana was completely covered, and the rest of the players, however they were trying to mark, Cunha was just there at the right moment, at the right place, and the ball went in. And we've seen it happen a lot of times this season. We've seen it happen with Milenkovic in the Forest game. We've seen it happen in the Arsenal game as well. We've seen it happen in the Bournemouth game as well. So it's the same mistakes happening every single game. And I don't know when that point will come where we actually stop conceding our set pieces, because it just completely, shifts the momentum of the game altogether. That one goal, and especially when you concede in, that sort of fashion, it completely breaks the morale of the team. And you can see it every single game. It happened against Bournemouth and against Wolves as well. The entire energy of the team drops. Before that first goal goes in, it still looks like, it is still an even game. But when you concede in that fashion, our energy is completely off.
It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it, when you think about the summertime and Ineos coming in and how much positivity there was. And if you would have said to us at that point, look at where we are now, you would have been like, oh my goodness me. Especially after that Wolves result. It's just crazy at the moment. And a couple of the guys referring to this in the comments. Z saying, big up, guys. Oh, I think we win this game. Don't know why. I think we show up. We had Casemiro playing centre-back last season, and we still beat Newcastle 3-2. Going to be Mainu and Casemiro. Josh is saying Newcastle are going to batter us if we play like we did against Wolves, so two slightly different perspectives there. It's hard to have faith when half of the team know they're out of the door in January or the summer. This January thing, though, I don't know where it comes from, because they say it's a hard selling market and a hard buying market. I don't see anyone buying our players on them wages. I genuinely, I just don't see it. No one's paying that amount of money unless it's Saudi. And fair enough, if players are willing to go Saudi mid-season, then, if it happens, it happens. But it's just
who do you
so
even get, though,
unrealistic.
at this moment in the market? Who would you even go for who would fit the budget? Like, I would say, okay, you get rid of Rashford, you get rid of Casemiro, you're able to generate, like, 70 to 80 million through both of those players somehow. Who do you get?
Well, we
Because
had
I
news.
think even one player would drain that cash.
We had news yesterday, didn't we? Breaking news about Nuno Mendes, about him becoming a potential option because he's not happy at PSG and he wants to leave. But even then, I'm thinking, well, how much of PSG? Because I'm sure he's still got a couple of years
Mendes,
contract.
yeah,
like it's going to cost
at least 60, 70 mil. At least 60, 70 mil. He's still very young as well.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to get sidetracked because I can talk about that forever. But yeah, it just my final thing on this Newcastle thing. I just want to beat him, so I can laugh at that annoying country Jordan. If anyone's watched his content before, I used to watch it a bit and the kickoff and stuff, and it was okay to listen to because you had like split opinions on everything. But if you ever watched him on United, he absolutely hates United. Like, it never has anything positive to say about him. He's always dead snarky and cocky. So, just this is a personal vendetta for me. I hope we beat Newcastle just so I can fucking laugh at him.
Newcastle fans seem to be trying to begin a rival with us, don't they?
Yeah.
They keep trying to start this thing like we're rivals. It's like we've never been rivals. We're never going to be rivals. Like you keep trying to start like this thing, and it's so weird. Like it's really bizarre.
It is bizarre, isn't it? Let's talk about ones to watch then, lads. For United, I've written down no one. For Newcastle, I've put Isaac, which is the obvious one, but I think Anthony Gordon as well. It seems to be like peacocking a little bit. Do you lads agree with that?
I think they're definitely good shouts. I would throw Bruno Guimaraes in there as well. He seems to have found a bit of form, and he's also a wind-up merchant. So I can see him trying to get a couple of our players sent off, which luckily Bruno's not on there because he would definitely fall into that trap. So yeah, he's a bit of a shithouse. I'd definitely put him. United, yeah, I honestly don't know because even Ahmad didn't look good against Wolves, and he's normally our star signing. And Mazraoui looks fucking knackered. He looks tired.
He's desperate for rest.
Needs a rest.
He's knackered against Spurs.
Yeah. He needs to rest, the poor lad. So yeah, it's worrying. And then Onana, we were like, he was good form, and then he's dropped some clangers recently. So he's just like, fucking hell. All our informed players are just playing like shit.
Yeah. Shreyas?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all the players you mentioned. You could throw Joelinton on the list as well because he knows how to pop up with a goal every now and then, and he's been doing it regularly for Newcastle. So he's definitely one to watch out for. And
also a wind-up merchant, Joelinton.
Yeah, and it's going to be very difficult for us to actually lock them down, considering the players who might be starting in that game in that midfield. Because you need energy against a team like Newcastle, and they've got energy; they can run out, for the entire 90 minutes.
Yeah, we'll bear that in mind when we do the predicted 11s. 5 quick fire questions for you. This might be a bit tough, so get ready. How many United players would get into Newcastle's current team?
I think they'd take Ahmad because they have that problem on the right-hand side, don't they?
Yeah.
I think Ahmad gets in there.
Mazraoui?
I think Yeah, Mazraoui can get in that team. Yeah.
But Livramento's been pretty good as well. To be fair.
You got Ugarte, maybe you give Ugarte in there. I think I've got a strong
Tonali's
midfield.
been, yeah.
Tonali's been great, but yeah,
I think
that'd be about it.
Delict might get in because he's still been all right for us.
Okay. I hope he's back, by the way. Really hope he's
Yeah.
back.
I think he was ill. Was he ill? He was on the bench against
Yeah.
Wolves, so I assume he'd be back.
Crossed. Fingers crossed. We'll leave it at that because I don't think you can kind of fit any more in. Will United concede more than 2?
Yep.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
Will there be a corner scored from the corner?
Most likely.
10,000%. 10,000%. Bet on it. You know, genuinely bet on it.
Or a Kieran Trippier free kick. I can see that as well.
Yeah.
This is an honest question, and I'm not bantering. Could we be dragged into a relegation battle this season?
It's a possibility.
Honestly.
It's a possibility.
I wouldn't say relegation, but I think there might be a case where we're around that 14th or 15th mark. Not relegation, but 14th, 15th mark.
We're, I think, 6 points off roughly at the moment,
Yeah.
right? You can probably see us losing to Newcastle. You can probably see us losing to, definitely see us losing to
Definitely.
Liverpool. If one of those teams picks up a couple of points there, it's honestly
might be
worried.
on the cards. But I still say, considering how things are going, I think 14th or 15th might be the worst case scenario for us.
I think Southampton are definitely going down. I think Ipswich probably go down.
I don't believe we're talking about it. It's just madness.
And then it's just a question of who's the worst of the rest of the teams. Like Wolves,
yeah,
they're pretty bad, but they got to win.
West Ham are level on points with us.
I think West Ham will be okay. So yeah, it's theoretically possible. I don't see it, but theoretically,
yeah. Joshua Owen put also Lewis Bolden as well. Yeah, he's a fucking annoying Newcastle fan as well. He hates. They have this like agenda narrative with United, and I've never understood it. Like Sam said, we've never been rivals ever. It's a Carabao Cup final. If you're still salty over that, I don't know what to tell you. It felt like it was fucking ages ago. Right, what 11s are we piecing together here, lads? Because I've struggled a little bit with this one. I'm not going to lie to you.
I think the back five is probably going to be the usual, isn't it? Onana, Dalot, Delict, Mazraoui, Lissandro, and I think Maguire probably comes in. I think he might rest
the right side, did you think?
Yeah. I think because Yoro was quiet, wasn't he, against Wolves? So I think you may rest him against Newcastle just to sort of like give him a bit of time. Midfield, it's going to be Casemiro, and I don't know the status of Mainu. I hope it's Mainu rather than Collier. So Mainu, Casemiro, and then front three. No Bruno, so Garnacho, Ahmad, Højlund.
Maybe we see Eriksen. You wouldn't be surprised.
I've done a couple of tweaks. I put Yoro in on the right side because I didn't think he had a bad performance against Wolves.
No, he wasn't bad, but I just think he doesn't seem to be starting him like game after game after game yet.
Yeah.
I think,
I'd keep him in there. I'd move Delict back into the centre. Lissandro's going to stay where he is. Maz will play because he always plays with Dalot. Casemiro, Mainu in the middle.
Mazraoui needs to rest, but we haven't got.
If you noticed, he dropped Malacio.
Yeah.
The last
he
couple of games.
He wasn't in the squad, was he? So yeah.
No, so obviously isn't impressed with his performances. So I think Maz and Dalot get their place.
He got taken off at half time. Was it Spurs? He got taken off at half time.
Yep. Yeah.
I think Cass and Mainu in the middle. And then I think Ahmad, Xerxes and Garnacho, because Rasmus Højlund, none of them are cutting it in a minute, to be fair.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep tinkering and try and get something out. Do you know what I mean? Just hope for something.
I think it might be a better option to put Ahmad back at a wing back. Because I think with two fullbacks, you ain't getting that width to stretch the pitch because they're traditional fullbacks. So defending first comes to mind. Whereas Ahmad's got a bit of dynamism about him and he goes forward and stuff like that. I think I would love to see Ahmad go back to like right wing back just to give that sort of pitch stretching a little bit. I don't see it happening personally, but I would like to see that go back to that just to give us something a bit different, because I think he's good in the 10, but I think fullbacks in the wing back positions just doesn't work.
We are just way too vulnerable in those positions. So at least till the time we get someone, I would say competent enough to play for us week in and week out, maybe we need to revert back to Ahmad.
This might be a bit of a rogue shout, but just to rest Mazraoui, because I'm thinking about Liverpool as well, I would put Anthony there at wing back.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been as bad as people making out at wing back when he's come on. When he tried him in the front three, it was fucking terrible.
He's been defensively, he's been all right.
He's been okay when he's come on. So I would personally try him there, but that's just a bit of a rogue shout from me. But look, either way, it's going to be really difficult, isn't it? What are we saying then? Predictions, people. Do you want me to go first?
Go on.
Yeah, please.
Newcastle 3-1.
I think Newcastle 3-0.
Yeah,
you're not even
I'll
giving
go
us
with
a
the
goal.
same.
No. Where's the goal coming? Tell me where the goal's
Where does
coming
it come from?
It's not like I think it's going to happen. I'm putting it in there.
Yeah, but who's scoring it? Who's scoring the goal?
Don't know.
That's what I mean. Like, who's putting the goal in?
I don't know. Just a hopeful one, random corner.
Fucking hell.
No idea. Yeah, it's a sticky one, isn't it, lads? It's the situation we're in at the moment. But I don't know. I don't know what to say to you. We'll just have to grind through it, get through these difficult fixtures, hope and hope and hope. But it is the hope that kills you. So yeah, this has been the preview for the Newcastle game. Shreyas, did you say 3-0 as well? Yeah. Just sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. Yeah. There we have it. That's the preview for the game, lads. If that doesn't get you up for it, I don't know what will. Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
I don't remember the last time we predicted a win. I genuinely don't even remember the last time we predicted a win.
It's hard though. This is where the reality of the situation we're at the minute. To the United lads, if we can deliver and it'll just shut that Lewis Bowden and True Geordie up, that would be the perfect Christmas present. Even though Christmas is already gone.
I'll take getting battered off Newcastle if we can win against Liverpool. I know it's not happening, but I will take that. If we get hammered against Newcastle, but we'll win against Liverpool, that's fine. Yeah. I'll take my loss.
That at Anfield is it makes me feel sick.
I'll dine off that. But yeah, if you think this was negative, guys, wait till the Liverpool preview.
Yeah. You don't even know what's coming.
Disaster.
Sorry. Thank you everyone for tuning in, whether you watch this live or later on. We're gonna have content. We'll back to the usual schedule. So yeah, keep an eye out for the videos dropping. Turn on the notification bell, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you shortly. See you in a bit.
Peace.
Yeah. See you.